Going on, everyone? So Joel Embiid has not looked good for Team USA for the most part. He's had his moments, had his games, had his stretches, but he has clearly not looked like the Joel Embiid we expected him to look. That dominant force that we thought would just be kind of the foundation piece down in the middle for Team USA. And now it's just like, it's begged the question so much so that it's like, hey, you got to get him out of the starting unit and start Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has just been far better. Like, it hasn't even been close. Him and Bam Adebayo have just been an incredible duo, and it's just begged a lot of questions with Joel Embiid. Now, he did come off of a significant injury. Maybe he's still kind of trying to get his way back into that. But it's just, it doesn't look good, and it doesn't bode well for the Philadelphia 76ers, right? And there's got to be some level of concern. I don't necessarily think that it's complete panic mode, sky is falling, this is the end. But I do think, given Joel Embiid's history, given the injuries and just his lackluster performance, in particular high pressure moments, which, by the way, Team USA doesn't really get much high pressure than that, right? And this is a guy that in the playoffs has been known to just completely vanish and disappear. And you're seeing a lot of those same things with Joel Embiid for Team USA. But it's not even just that. Like, even just the way he's moving it doesn't look like Joel Embiid out there. And, the Sixers, there's a lot of just excitement this offseason, right? Like, they land Paul George, right? So now you got Maxey, you got George, you got Joel Embiid. They've had an excellent offseason. They just got or are about to get Reggie Jackson, right? So it's like you're starting to add all these complementary pieces. You're able to keep guys like Kelly Oubre and Kyle Lowry, and it's just, I don't know. It's just, there's the one thing kind of standing in the Sixers' way, which I talked about when they landed Paul George, was the concerns of injuries. Obviously, Paul George hasn't been a model of health, neither has Joel Embiid, but also the lack of playoff performances, right? Now, Paul George in his Indiana days was, excellent. I mean, he looked like a clear-cut number one guy, right? But injuries and all kinds of stuff, he's had some very lackluster playoff performances with the Thunder, with the Clippers, right? And now he's going to Philly, and it's like, pandemic P, playoff P, right? Like, who are you getting? Yes, Paul George still, like, he'll have a game where he'll just go win you a game by himself. But he also has games where he'll just completely disappear. And it's like, he might as well not even be on the court. But that's the same kind of issue that Joel Embiid has at times, right? Like, you'll get that game where Joel Embiid looks like Joel Embiid, MVP, go and get you a win. And then he'll follow that up with, like, just 3 terrible games where it's like, oh, now I see why they can't get out of the second round. And it's a level of concern because, Paul George, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey, I think, is an excellent trio. I have talked about how I still believe that big threes work in the NBA, right? They're proven. But they also have been a lot of failed big threes. And a lot of times, most of the time, you look at those failed big threes and it's the lack of fit, right? Like, when Phoenix went and traded for Bradley Beal, I literally made a video and people told me I was crazy, I'm casual, I'm this, that, and the other. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, just give Phoenix the trophy now, blah, 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 blah. Well, one of us was right. And I said that Phoenix biggest mistake was trading for Bradley Beal, that they were better off keeping Chris Paul and keeping DeAndre Ayton, right? And if you were going to trade Ayton, then fine, but shouldn't have traded him for Nurk, right? But I digress. Point is that the reason I said that big three wouldn't work is because they're all the same player, just at different sizes, right? Like, especially Bradley Beal and Devin Booker have a very similar play style, but neither are big enough to slide over to the three and be good enough defensively, and neither is really a true playmaker. they can make a play, but they aren't playmakers, right? What they should have done is they should have just kept Chris Paul, and now you have a true point guard alongside Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. And then if you want to, flip Ayton into a serviceable center and some depth. And they probably would have been one of, if not the best teams in the league, right? I mean, they didn't have Bradley Beal pretty much the entirety of the season anyway, right? Like, or flip Chris Paul into a younger serviceable point guard, right? They should go get a Tyus Jones or something. I don't know, whatever, right? Like, but the point is that, you know, you look at a team like the Sixers, and all three guys have different skill sets. All three guys have different positions or play different positions, and all three guys can impact the game in multiple ways, right? And that's why I think Philly, as their big three, can really work and have some success, right? Now, will it be championship level success? That, to me, depends on Joel Embiid and Paul George. I think that they're basically one of three teams in the NBA. I think you have in the Eastern Conference, Eastern Conference, right? You have the Boston Celtics, you have the New York Knicks, and then I think you have the Philadelphia 76ers. And then after that, I think everyone else kind of just lumped into that like fourth slot. But if Philly can be healthy and they play, I mean, they're deep, they're talented, they have their core three guys, but they also were able to maintain multiple other pieces. They got, it was Andre Drummond as the backup. Like, they did a really good job rounding out the roster. And it's championship or bust for Philly, right? It is. It's championship or bust for Philly. And they've had a lot of talent come through and have underdelivered and underperformed, right? And now it's like, here we go again, another position, another opportunity, and lo and behold, right, like, Joel Embiid does not look great, and it begs the question, is it just injury? Is it just like, hey, he's not quite there yet? Get through Team USA. But if he isn't, then, just say that. Just be that, right? Take the reserve bench role. I know for, vanity and stuff, you want to say you start and all that stuff, but you also want to try to do what's best for your team. You recruited Paul George. You recruited Paul George live on national television, right? Like, to me, it's like, if you're not ready yet, don't force the issue given your injury history. If he didn't have this, laundry list of injuries, I would be like, hey, maybe he's just kind of playing through it, kind of trying to get himself right. But no, the guy's hurt once a week. And so to me, it's just like, if it's not the injuries, which that might be worse. But if it's not the injuries, then you look at the fact that it's like, here's another high pressure situation in which Joel Embiid can't deliver. Here's another high pressure situation in which Joel Embiid looks like a different version of himself. And it's unfortunate. And I definitely think it's something of concern for Philly. I do. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you think do you think it's injuries? Do you think it's a high pressure situation? Do you think it's maybe a combination, right? I mean, that's always a possibility. Could, both things can be true. Could be injured. Could be dealing with the high pressure of just everything that goes on with playing USA basketball. Do you think that it's concerning for the Sixers? Do you think hey, watching Joel Embiid play for Team USA thus far, not look great, could not bode well for the Sixers going forward? Now, look, it was, to be fair, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but if I'm going to be fair, right? Like, you look at Joel Embiid, you look at its exhibition, right? Nobody's really going 100% yet because we're not in group play yet. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, everyone's kind of had their struggles outside of like LeBron, AD, Bam, and a couple others, right? Like, Steph has not been great. He's had, again, games, moments, but he hasn't looked quite like the dominant Steph we expected. Jason Tatum has still looked rough, right? Like, there's other guys that you can point to. So it's not just solely Joel Embiid. But the thing is, like, Joel Embiid is the guy for Philly, and their success literally hinges on Joel Embiid, right? It's all on his shoulders, everything. And he's been doing a lot of talking lately, right? Talking about LeBron being old, and then LeBron saves him twice, talking about how he could have been the GOAT and, dropped 50 a game and been the most dominant player ever and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, you don't even look like a starter on Team USA. You don't even look like you don't even look like you belong on Team USA. All right, so that's just a bit of concern as well. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me know that. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.